All right, welcome everyone. In today's video, I'm going to talk about chess and how to study chess. Some three simple tips for you to again learn how to study chess. Now, I'm not talking about which subjects or topics to study. I'm just saying the process to use when you're studying these different topics, such as tactics, strategy, annotated games, end games. The first one is called active recall. Now, again, if you go, I want to quickly explain it, but I also want to give you guys resources for you guys can check out some of these videos about these methods. So again, active recall quickly is instead of you know, reading about information, it's about you. How much can you actually remember and verbalize and test yourself before you even start learning new information, right? So it's about quizzing yourself. What do you remember, right? Getting what's in your brain, verbalizing, writing it down, see how much you can actually remember. So there's different ways you can do this, and again, I'm going to post a video in the link in the description below, so you can check out different ways to implement active recall. One is to take notes in your book. So if you are reading a book about tactics or annotated games, again, you can take notes, engage with the material. That way, you are, again, the purpose is your brain is more engaged when you're actively taking notes, you're actively repeating the things that you learn, you're verbalizing things, you're putting concepts in your own words, so you're making it fit into your brain. Questions you can ask yourself is, again, when you're studying, is why did that happen? How did that happen? You know, have I lost a game in that fashion? Have I won a game in that fashion? Again, do I have those reference experiences from my games that can relate to this book, to this chapter, to this concept? How can I translate what I'm learning to my games, right? How can I improve, right? Or what if I did lose a game in that fashion, what could I have done now that I know about this method, about this trick? What could I have done then to prevent that mistake? Now, the second one is spaced repetition. Again, this one's pretty popular. Again, Chessable, has made it popular, and I think Michael de la Haza made it popular with his book. So again, it's just spaced repetition is that you want to review material that is difficult. You want to review that material more frequently, and again, the opposite. If the material is easy, you want to review that material less frequently, right? Now, again, you could do this with flashcards. Again, if you have a puzzle books, you can cut those puzzles out and tape them or glue them to flashcards. And then you have different categories of boxes, right? It's up to you how many categories you want to put. It could be two categories up to five, whatever you want, whatever works for you. But you just want to separate between easy and difficult, right? So again, if you the puzzles that you do frequently that are easy, you put them in the easy box, and the ones that you can't get them, that you can't solve them in under a minute, right? You put those in the difficult box. So next time you go do your puzzles, you want to do the ones that are in the difficult box first, and then you repeat the process, right? So out of those that were in the difficult box, if they were easy, you just put them in the easy box, and then you keep adding puzzles that way. Now, if you're not using flashcards, if you're just reading through the puzzle book, another way that you could do it is with a pencil. You just mark the puzzles that you weren't able to solve in under a minute. So the ones that you had to look up the answer to, you just put a star next to those puzzles, and then the next time you go through that book, you're gonna do the puzzle with the star first, right? And then you repeat the process. Once you go over the puzzle with the star, if you got them under 1 minute, then you're gonna erase that star. And if you still weren't able to solve, some of those puzzles, then you can just add, leave the star, or you can just add another star to make sure, hey, this one's it's been twice that I've gone over and I haven't gotten it under 1 minute. So again, I would recommend you to repeat that puzzle 3 times visually to ingrain that pattern in your head. All right, and the last tip is interleaving, right? So interleaving, again, the way that works is you mix up different topics, or you can mix up different problems within the same topic. Classic example is when you're studying tactics, You first learn about pins, you then learn about forks, you then learn about skewers, and then at the end of the tactics books, there's like a quiz or a challenge or a test with different types of puzzles, right? So that's interleaving, where it mixes up the puzzles for you. So now your brain is more engaged because it has to, figure out, what kind of puzzle, what kind of tactic it is that you're looking at, right? So definitely you can interleave between topics. You can interleave in tactics. I just described that. You can interleave in end games. You can interleave in middle games, and then also you can interleave between the actual topics, right? So you can mix up everything. Now the absolute, best way to interleave and the absolute best way to implement active recall to test yourself is to actually play a game, right? So again, in a game, you have to recall, you have to kind of put it into translate what you're studying into your game, right? And you don't know what you're going to be tested on depending on your opponent's move. So that's the absolute best way to test yourself and to interleave, right? So again, I think it's important to have a healthy ratio between games and studying, right? So an extreme example would be, let's say you study the whole month tactics, but you only play one game for that month, right? One long game. Well, I don't think that's a healthy ratio, because you want to see where you're at, right? You want to play more frequently to see if you are translating what you're studying into the games, right? And then to kind of correct other mistakes, right? Again, there's no point in studying tactics or annotated games if when you go play a game you're blundering a piece and you lose a game in that fashion. So you obviously want to play out more games because you want to correct, first off the blundering, and then you can kind of focus. Once you have a longer game, you can actually think, okay, what were some of the mistakes that I made? All right, so another bonus tip that I have for you guys is this one I got from Andrew Huberman, who is a neuroscientist, American neuroscientist. He has his own podcast. Again, I'll link that. I'll actually link the podcast where he mentions this with the exact timestamp in the description below. But again, he recommends after your studying session, whether it's a game where you learn something and you analyze your game, whether it's a studying session, after that, you have to, sit quietly or lay down for 5 to 10 minutes and do nothing, right? You close your eyes. And what's going to happen is your brain is going to replay, the things that you learned, right? The whole situation, the whole game, your studying session. What did you learn? So that's going to replay within your brain, and that helps with accelerated learning. So that's a pretty helpful tip there. There's some people, I know everybody has a lot going on that you're studying, and then right after you study, you get up and you got to go do something else. So your attention is not focused on what you learn anymore, right? Because you got other things to do. But again, just try for 5 minutes. I do it for 5 minutes. If it takes 10 minutes for you, then that's fine as well. But for 5 minutes, go somewhere, sit down quietly, lay down, and then close your eyes, and then just kind of just sit there and do nothing, right? Your brain's automatically gonna replay your learning session. All right, so that's pretty much it for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I put links in the description, so make sure you go check out those concepts and those tips. If you have any questions, post them down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.